Hey, dear Tyla, good evening, and how are you doing? I hope you're good. I hope you're fine. It's been a while. It's been a long while that we actually saw or spoke, or I haven't said anything. First and foremost, I think I need to appreciate everyone of you that reached out to me on my birthday. That was like last week Tuesday. It was quite an experience for me because I'm not too certain that I've ever been celebrated to this extent, and like honestly, I have no idea on how to handle celebrations. And so the Dear Tyla community guys reached out to me, and they really, they really outdid themselves, coordinated themselves in such a great manner. Came, did birthday celebration, got cake, got me an amazing picture frame. It was just a beautiful picture frame. And some people gave me gifts. Apparently on my birthday I had issues with vehicle inspection officers, and I had to pay some bills that I didn't plan for, but then God just came through for me, and it was really amazing. I remember sleeping that night and just being grateful to God for people. And so I know it's been a week plus, but this is me officially saying thank you to every single individual that reached out to me on my birthday, that went out of their way to show how important they consider me. It's a privilege, it's an honor, and it's a blessing. Thank you so much. I had a lot of time to think about life. There was this thought that just came to my mind, like, okay, hey guy, if you hadn't started Dear Tyla, this experience wouldn't have happened. And it's way beyond, just having, something to do, but then, the consistency that came with it. There were times that I wanted to give up, times that I really just felt, devoid of any energy and strength. But apparently, the whole consistency paid off, right? So I'm really grateful. I'm excited. I really appreciate God for life. But then sadly, my birthday experience turned to something really hurtful. Birthday experience turned to something really hurtful, to be absolutely honest. It turned to something really hurtful. The next day I was at home, just trying to tidy up some things. I was like really preparing, to put in motion a lot of things. And then I got a call. From an aunt of mine, and she was crying. And she was asking me about someone, and she's like, hey, person drowned, Later on I got to realize that it was my nephew. He had gone to the village, for the whole election break and everything. He wanted to, exercise his franchise, wanted to vote. He'd been very passionate about the whole political scene, wanting to get things right. And so he was there, and that he went to the river, and I don't really have details to the story, but then he drowned. And I think one of the things that really traumatized me was the fact that in his drowning, they didn't find him till the next day. And so somehow, I've been dealing with a lot, and in as much as I try my best to be vulnerable, I don't think it's everything that I can actually say right now. I've been dealing with a lot, and he had been trying to reach out to me. And somehow, just been ignoring, because I knew that he wanted us to really discuss the issues at hand. And he was a great support system. I can remember days where he would just call me and just decide to, pray with me, and I would be like, hey, uncle, you're the person that has made me to love God. And so even if you're in your down moments, I'm not going to leave you. And so he celebrated me on my birthday, and I was like, hey, thank you. And, he left a good message, And so battling the thoughts, of the possibility of him dying was unbelievable. And so I didn't really say much, We just kept hope alive, just asking questions around. Okay, I hope he's good. I hope he's fine. And then on Thursday morning, I was just, going through Facebook, and I saw one of my nieces, she posted that, so is this the end? And so I reached out to her, and she told me that they found him. And so, the way she said it was okay, the way she put it is that they brought him home. So I was like, oh, okay. In my mind, I'm like, oh, okay. That he probably survived the whole ordeal. Then the next thing, I just saw an obituary poster. And the sad thing about my village is that we don't have a mortuary. So the day they found him was the day that they buried him. It looks like they already started preparing the whole burial stuff the day before, because of the fact that he had been lost and there was no hope. I was extremely, extremely devastated, because the guy is just, 29 years of age, and he had some rough patches in life, but man, he was getting it together. He had so many plans. He'd really worked on a lot of things. This was somebody that was like the troublemaker and everything, but then eventually he became the one that was like a beacon of hope, a beacon of strength to people. And then just, to see his life cut short, I wasn't just the same again. I couldn't get myself to do an episode. I couldn't get myself to do anything. I had a lot of guilt. I had a lot of regrets. I had a lot of pain in my heart. And because of it, I became emotionally numb. Almost put myself into very, very terrible circumstances. Just acted in irrational manners. Just did things in a very wrong way. I remember when I was talking to my siblings, when we'd all come to terms with the story, with the incidents, I told them, I said, you see, right, just live this life. He was passionate about work, did a lot of things, but then I now realized that his desk would be cleared. Literally, his desk is going to be cleared. Whatever dreams, whatever aspirations that he had, everything, it's just over. I remember because, like I said, he had his own challenges that were like a thorn in his flesh at that time. And it was more of like a family issue, There was always talks, there were always discussions, always things happening, people saying stuff, And they were like always hitting on him about certain things. But now nobody cares. Literally, nobody cares. Nobody cares because he's gone. And I think for me, one thing that I learned was live life. I was just like, I'm at rehearsal now, I just had to step out, and I was like, now that I am in the heat of I'm in the mood for it, let me just do it. I went through a post that apparently I posted, I posted exactly this time last year, and it says, if people don't like you, they would find a way to make your good deeds seem worthless. Do the right thing and be satisfied with doing it. God sees your heart. Only men assume your intentions. God sees your heart. Only men assume your intentions. There's this part of scripture that says, I think it's in Philippians 4, verse 8, if I'm not mistaken. Philippians 4, verse 8. Said, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of a good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. It's important that we commit our lives and our hearts to doing the right thing. I was thinking about, a lot of things. I'm not perfect. I think the past few months have shown how much of a terrible person I can be. Right? The past few months have really shown how much of a terrible person I can be. And I had to, just think about, how my actions have influenced a lot of, certain things. And like I said, this is a guy that was, getting his act together, putting things in order. And then if anybody should go, I don't think I'm particularly worthy of life in that sense. And for me, I'm like, this is somebody that is really working, doing a whole lot of things, getting it right with God, moving and doing stuff a lot. And he's the one that eventually died. See, in all honesty, I just felt like that this guy didn't deserve it. Like, at least heaven should have hope, something of that nature. Another thing that wrecked me is thinking about the pain he must have gone through. The thing about drowning is that it's not like maybe like an accident, maybe you, in the process of having an accident, you suffer shock and then it now makes you unconscious, maybe you're sick or something. It's the struggle for life, the struggle for survival. Having hope that, I'm going to get out of this situation, and then gradually as time goes on, you realize that hope seems to die, and all of that. And Dear Tyla, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I can imagine, some of us must have had that experience, having loved ones, witnessing the death of a loved one, like literally being there while the life is sapped out of somebody. Or, the struggle for survival or something. Or for some of us that have been in near-death experiences or something, I started, questioning life. What's it all about? What's the purpose of it? What's the goal? Because every accolade that he has, everything that he has seemingly achieved, every target that he hit, from home, the expectations of men, the expectations of society, everything now seems worthless. Our guy is not around. And so, Tyla, I really struggled. I've really, really struggled, Somebody reached out to me, I was meant to, talk to a friend of mine, so that I could get my act together, put some things to work. Somebody really reaching out to me to make me more efficient. I've not even reached out. Just because I've lost all energy and strength. I spoke to someone, and through our discussion, she just told me, she said, just take it one step at a time. Just wake up the next morning and live life. Just wake up one morning, the next morning, and live life. The next morning and live life. See how you can make the best out of every day. I have this mantra, right? It's kind of like it's kind of like the mandate of my life, kind of in that way. And I got it when I was very, very young, back in secondary school, aka high school. And I wrote it down and I said that the value of your life is not in what you achieve, but what others achieve through you. There is no greater investment that you would make that would surpass the investment you make in people. Absolutely no greater investment. The truth is that the real treasure is what we leave in the memories and the hearts of people. Because sadly, apart from the things that we do for people, every other thing gets transferred. So, I'm thinking about, okay, my nephew's job now, somebody's going to take his place. If he had any other possessions, cars, houses, somebody's going to take it. The only thing that is irreplaceable is the impact that we have in people's lives. It lives with them forever. And right now, even as I mourn my nephew's death, I'm not thinking about the cars he drove. I'm not thinking about the clothes he wore. I'm not even thinking about how fine the guy was. Did you get? I'm just remembering everything that he did for me. How he inspired me, how he prayed for me, how he motivated me. That's what counts. And that's what we should live our lives doing, Tyla. Impact. If it's in your job, yes, fine. Your excitement shouldn't come from just your job alone. No. What is your job helping to achieve? What testimonies can come out because of your presence in that job? All of those certain things. Having the job is beneficial to you because it provides a source of income and source of security. But aside that, what happens to you? What are you using that job to do? What are you using that ministry to do? What are you using that gift to do? What are you using that car to do? All of those other things. It's more, the most important part is what you are able to do with what God has given you. The lives that you bless are more important than the possessions that you have. More important than the possessions that you have. And you have to always remember that, Tyla. Always remember that. I think prior to that day, somebody reached out to me, just talking about, give people their flowers while they're still alive. And I wish I told him all of these things. And I know he's in heaven now and he sees my heart, but my heart is not enough. My heart is not enough. I really wish you could hear my voice. And so I really just hope, I really hope it just blesses you. Let's just reevaluate a lot of things. Sadly now, every birthday of mine, I have to mourn my nephew. But I'm trusting God to help me see that there is I'm trusting God that I would tend to see the joy that He brought, the great impact that He made in my life. That's what I would choose to remember. And if you're going through any seeming loss, any painful experience, Tyla, I want you to remember what they did for you, the impact that can never be taken away. And then I want you to also work with the mindset of leaving an impact in the lives of people, most importantly. I think the prayer that I will just leave is a prayer in Psalm 90, it should be Psalm 90 or 91. And so, Father, teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts to wisdom. I really hope this episode blessed you. And I hope you'll get to hear from me soon. Remember that I love you, I believe in you, and I'm always rooting for you, Tyla. Have an awesome evening.